Divine greetings, great evening to all of you beautiful kings and queens, our friends and family. Welcome, welcome. I have a very special guest with me tonight. I am so honored to be welcoming Queen Botanical Rhianon, who has been on an incredible healing journey, and she will be sharing with us tonight for a very exclusive interview. My heart is so warm for welcoming you. You've been such an inspiration. I can't wait to dive deep with you and share with others what you've been doing to get yourself healthy, get yourself to lose weight and feel your most vibrant self. I've been really enjoying following your transformation. You've been very vocal about how the living foods have been supporting you in almost completely coming off of your thyroid medication that you've been on for many, many years, and helping bring back your period that you had lost for a few months, and an overall sense of well-being. I could see it in your glow. I could see it in your face. You're also a mom of 6, right? You hear that? 6 children. Hats off to you. You've also homeschooled them, which is like incredible. You are such a star, and I am so happy to have you here tonight to share your journey. So
That's
let's
like
have
the sweetest ever. Goodness. I'm just excited to be here. I'm like super honored to be being interviewed by you. So
yes. Oh my goodness. Well, I just love to hear success stories and empowering stories of how, men, women, kings and queens are remembering, who they are and taking ownership of their life, of their health, and reclaiming their power, reclaiming their sovereignty, because that's really what it's all about. And praising God, right? Because we are the living temples of God. We are the living sacred vehicle, sacred temple that he has given us to live in this earthly plane. And so when I see somebody who is taking good care of their temple, it's the greatest gift ever, because that's what it's all about. He wants us to be healthy. He wants us to be happy and thriving and bringing heaven on earth, and there is a way to do that. So I'm so curious, without further ado, I'm so curious, maybe you could share with us a little bit what your history was, a little bit with your health, what you were struggling with that brought you to the path of living foods, which you've been on for now 78 days. 78 days is so amazing, on pure fruits and vegetables, juices, smoothies, salads. Oh my goodness. And your food looks so delicious. Those zucchini noodles, yum.
yeah. I wrote down stuff because I tend to forget, what I felt like before. I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe I had this or that, and then when I really think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember all the things. Just real quick, I grew up mostly vegan, vegetarian. My parents were really super health conscious. My dad was a chiropractor and acupuncturist, and he was always kind of going back to school and adding on. So he was really into nutrition. When I got married and we kind of moved away, I just kind of was like, well, I'll try different things. And I started adding other things in my diet. And then we started, I started with once I wasn't feeling so great, started the thyroid medication. And then my health just kept declining. Also because the religion I was raised in, we never ever went to the doctors. And so I just, that was not something I ever did. So when I started to go, this was all new to me. But anyway, so that's kind of a little recap about kind of where I found myself about 2 years ago. And I had a C-section with my 6th baby. I had 5 natural births at home and birth centers and a few at the hospital, but still natural. And I had really long labors. But anyway, but after the C-section, I went through a super low, an emotional, I wasn't even expecting that. And I always had struggled with depression and anxiety, but it got really bad. And the inflammation in my body was horrific. Like I've shared on my channel that I would get up in the morning and just to stand up hurt. And then I remember I would go down the hall to the kitchen to cook. And I was like, how am I going to get over there? It hurts everywhere, And I was 35 when I started this like journey of like, I'm going to get better. It's kind of cold down here. So I'm like, oh, it's cold in my basement. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, so I was like, first it was all about losing weight. You know, I'm going to lose weight. So I started for the first 50 pounds, I just kind of jumped around and tried different things. And I tried keto and I got really obsessed with it. I don't want to talk negatively about anything, but it was just kind of a disaster. Like it really messed with my gallbladder, and I would just didn't want to give it up because I thought this is something that's really working. But the thing is, as soon as I would get off, then the weight would come back on and I would feel just horrible. And finally my husband was like, I don't think you should do this anymore. I really think, you should find something else. And I realized when I really evaluated what was the thing that really worked during that time of losing those 50 pounds very slowly, or maybe it was like more like 40. And I realized that every time I actually lost weight and it like kind of stayed off was when I did plant-based. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do 100 days plant-based, and document it like a little bit here and there. And so I did that. I lost some weight. And then I was like, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to do raw vegan. And so I did a couple of days here or there and started getting my toes wet, started to follow different people. And I'll stop there because that was your question, like kind of where I kind of came from.
Yeah.
And then
No, that's perfect. We're segueing naturally into what I was going to ask you next. Because there's a saying that says, we either come to the path of living foods, either out of desperation or out of inspiration. And what I'm hearing from you is that you really came out of desperation, out of feeling really unwell, feeling like, this isn't the way I'm supposed to be, being on medication and feeling so tired. And, the overweight is like a lot of people are struggling with this. And I think it's totally okay. You're not putting down, the keto diet if you're just saying that like it wasn't working for you, because I think like a lot of people out there right now are on the keto diet. And I think it's really important to bring to the light the truth of the situation, that if we're consuming a lot of animal products, rich, heavy, mucus forming foods like dairy, bacon, chicken, eggs, putting coconut oil in the coffee, like fat is a big problem. And sure, if somebody's coming from eating Doritos and Cheetos and ice cream every day, they may lose some weight doing keto. It may be an improvement on the toxic junk food that they were doing. However, I think it should be temporary, if anything, and then we need to like start thinking about transitioning to a more a diet that promotes elimination. If you just think of it on a physiological level, like meat takes so much time to digest. So if you're eating that 2-3 times a day, you're not eliminating properly. You're creating backed up metabolic waste in your system, backed up mucoid plaque. Like that is some serious, dangerous situations that, unfortunately a lot of people are lost in. So I think that's really important for our message as living foodists. I've never done keto, but I know I felt terrible on the animal products. But I know a lot of friends that are on keto, and I mean, I don't beat around the bush. I'm like, it's just really unhealthy. Like, it just doesn't even make sense that you just eat a little handful of berries and you're scared of the fruit sugars. Like that is not to be feared. Look at us. We're eating like a variety of fruits. We're eating a variety of
so much
calories, and like we're thriving, like we're just coming back to life in a way that the programming has told us not to do. So we're definitely going against the current, against the grain that is all like this money-making industry. So thank you for saying that, having lived it and felt the health problems that come with it, I feel holds a lot of weight to share, definitely. So I was wondering, who has been your inspiration? Like, how did you come about the living foods, the raw foods? Like, who inspired you at first? How did you hear about it?
Yeah, so when I was like 11 years old, I remember my dad, he really wanted me to go on fruits and vegetables for a month. And at the time, I kind of thought it was all about weight. So I was like, oh, I was like, but now I look back and I realized that was when my allergies like really started. I was having so many problems with allergies and I didn't quite understand. So I remember all throughout like my teens, and then I guess in like around 19, I was like, that's what stuck with me, because I just was always sick. like every time I ate, everything made me feel sick, and I didn't know what it was, but I kind of wanted to be like everybody else. So everybody can just go eat whatever. And so I kept trying, and I remember I would wake up in the mornings, like, and just be like, or at night, I'm about to go to bed, and I'd be like, tomorrow I'm going raw vegan, you know? I'd be like, so my first person that introduced me, I guess, was my dad, but then later, I found Alyssa Cohen, which I don't know if anybody knows her, but I got her book, and she had DVDs back then, because, you know, and my husband, he was just had joined the Navy, so we were like a newly married at 18, so we were like, we got money, you know. Anyway, so I was like, honey, will you get me this Excalibur, which back then the Excalibur dehydrator was like $400. Now they're like, you know, crazy. But and he got me like a juicer, used juicer, and I did it for like 3 days, or not even, you know, 2 days. And I was like, I can't do it, you know, so all this money, but I kept it. All of our moves, we moved like 11 or 12 times. And those two items came with us everywhere. Cause I was like, one day. So first it was Alyssa Cohen. And then this time in 2021, when I first was like, raw vegan, I'm gonna really do it. I brought my dehydrator back up near the counter and brought the juicer. I kept going through those cycles through the years. And I got my Alyssa Cohen stuff out again. And I thought, you know what? I bet people are on YouTube talking about this. So of course, the number one name we all think of is Fully Raw Christina, because her stuff comes up, you know. So I started watching her, and I started going to her videos with her, you know, her like strawberry lemonade ice cream and stuff. And I had my kids come in, we made stuff together. It was like super fun. I got her app. And so that was the first one recently. And then Raw Food Romance, over on, I love her recipe book. So that was kind of like how the first people that really brought it were like that. Those were like the stages. And then I wrote down some things because I wanted to make sure, okay, that was it. Yeah. So that was kind of, those are the people that I found. Now it's like, there's like, you know, anyway, you're amazing. Like, I remember when you reached out to me and you invited me to your Facebook page. I don't want to gush, but I really enjoyed your process. And then like, I can't remember what some of the names are on YouTube, but you know, some of the smaller channels I found, but like, you know,
Yeah.
so.
And I love how you take the time to thank us. You know, I want to give you like so much gratitude when you make your stories, and you tag me, you tag Queen Jade as well. I saw you, Queen Melissa Keith, who also has great recipe books. Like, you take the time to show appreciation for all of those who have inspired you, Queen Jillian as well. So thank you for doing that. And of
course, community is so important. That's how we
yeah.
grow, and that's how we, like, anyway, I don't want to be all like, oh, but that's how our hearts.
It's okay. I'm super cheesy. I love the gush. My gosh.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yes. And we love having you too in the Kings and Queens of Raw. It's so good to be there with you and to have you in our space with us, where we could celebrate each other. We could, you know, come and talk about some weird detox symptoms that's happening, or some challenge that we're facing, or cravings that we may be having. Community is everything. So like I mean, I couldn't have done it without a community. 2 years ago, I was in Raw Vegan Heroes with Shane, and that really helped me. I saw the power of coming together in a tribe. So beautiful. Well, you definitely have a gift of gathering and inspiring others, and definitely making the lifestyle so much fun, and take away a lot of the fear that we may have about it, you know?
Thank you.
Yes. What kind of did you face any challenges in transitioning, or any like detox symptoms or moments? I remember there was a couple videos where you were like, I almost quit. Like, what was going on for you when you were like just on that point of breaking?
Yeah, at the beginning I felt so horrible that I was like, I'm already feeling horrible, you know, and all the detox symptoms I read were what I was literally experiencing every day. I was to the point where I had headaches every day, and it was becoming debilitating. And I was looking at my children, and I was like, what kind of mother? Like, I can't do anything. And my anxiety was so high. I didn't want us to go anywhere. I was so nervous about everything, to the point that I knew I was being ridiculous, but it was so real, the fear and the anxiety. But the detox, I put down some detox in, because like I said, it's been a while. So I would have kind of forgotten, like headaches and, I'm trying to think. Sorry. I'm like really big on like writing things down, because I start talking and then I forget. Oh yeah. I did have, sorry, this is too much, but I remember having a lot of loose stool at the beginning. But honestly, like constipation, I think is such a huge issue on the standard American diet. People are so used to it that I kind of was like, I don't care what is happening. I'm just going to let it ride. Like whatever it's like, it's fine, you know? But food combining was huge. I remember being like, no, everyone was talking about food combining. I'm like, that's crazy. I went from eating pizza and Doritos. What does it matter if I eat a watermelon and a, you know, that's crazy. But man, it's like so helpful. So helpful. I'm sorry I keep moving around. I'm sitting on a hard floor. But anyway, so, and headaches, but I was already having headaches, you know. But I do want to say I did do 100 days of plant-based where I cut out coffee, sugar, all processed food, dairy, you know, meat. I think I already said sugar, but like processed sugar, and I ate whole foods. So by the time I was getting ready to transition to raw vegan, I had already cut out so much that I think my body was, I think someone's taking a shower and the pipes are right there. So
I can
hopefully it
hear
won't be
it.
loud.
It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it wasn't super bad, but I do want to talk about something, the mental stuff I had to get through with not eating the same thing as my family. Now, some people might not relate with this, but I really was scared that I would cause like my kids, particularly my girls, like to have eating disorders. And I don't want to be a trigger for anybody, but I am going to talk about it for a minute. So is that okay for me to
Yes,
talk
of
about?
course.
Okay.
Of course.
So I had struggled with just counting calories and weight just for years, obsession about it for so long. And I just have been so diligent with, my daughters. Like when I would gain weight with my pregnancies, I would just like hug myself and tell them like, this is useful. Like and I use the word fat because I don't want them to be afraid of that word. I'm like, this is useful fat in my body. My body is using this. I'm making life in me. And then when I would nurse, I'd be like, oh, my body needs this to feel safe. And like, I'm so beautiful. Like I would do a lot of that. So I was really concerned that if they saw me eating something really different than them, they might, but then I realized through this, when I just kept pushing past that feeling and just saying, I'm doing something better. I'm doing something better. I realized that what I was really teaching my girls was that as a woman, you should be allowed to say, I want to make like decisions about my food. I want to eat food that's healthy, that's functional for my body, that's going to make me feel joyful mentally and emotionally and physically. I want them to see that. I want my boys to see that. I want to be able to them to grow up and think, man, when I don't feel so good, I want to turn to nutrition. I want to turn to fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and because like that, you know what I mean? And so I realized that I had this fear that was actually on the other side of it was a massive inspiration for my children. And so I did want to bring that up because that was one of my big like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so when I came on the other side of that feeling, I just was so overjoyed to know that like, even though I was scared at the beginning, I just trusted that this was something I needed to do. And on the other side of that was like, look what I'm doing. I'm doing something so great. So I wrote that down because I wanted
Yes,
to talk about that. Yeah, that was what I wrote down. So
it's so
I hope
great.
that was your question. Yeah, it was.
It
Okay.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It could flow, it could deviate. It is
Okay.
perfect. You did answer. You did it answer because that's one of the challenges that we face, I'll
Yeah.
hold it in a container. You'll see how it makes sense because I was asking about challenges that you were facing, and definitely like the social aspect of it is a challenge, right? Our families, our friends, how we're going to be received around us, how sometimes some people could be literally mean to us about it, or food is such an important part of the
Yeah.
social dynamics. So our kids are definitely a big part of that, and I just want to say that there's no greater gift than showing our children how to love ourselves, how to
Right.
treat ourselves good, because they're going to grow up knowing how to do that, even if they're not raw vegan. My daughter is certainly not raw vegan, everybody, like I share
My
that
kids
very
aren't either.
openly.
Yeah.
Like they're on their own journey, and we're giving them a gift by showing them how to heal themselves. And me too, like I come from eating disorders, just like not like you didn't say that you were coming from eating disorders, but the fear of putting that into my daughter, like on a juice cleanse, like she saw me just juicing all the time, and I was like, what is this going to do to her? Is she going to be
Yeah.
traumatized? Is she going to think it's and it did affect her on some level, because she was like, Mom, when are you going to eat? Mom, when are you going to eat? But I was explaining to her too, like, Mommy is eating. It's just a different kind of food. Like, I'm getting a lot of nutrients. I'm getting a lot of calories. I'm cleansing myself. So from that standpoint, it's definitely interesting. So maybe, later on, if she needs to cleanse, like, she'll run to the juice cleanse, hopefully, as opposed to running to the doctor.
Yeah, or some cleanse that they say is a cleanse, but it's really just like drink olive oil and
Yeah.
like all this stuff. Like, yeah, we want to teach them how to like actually
Yeah.
cleanse. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They have a good example, and that's so great. That's so great. I love how you're talking about too, like loving yourself no matter what, enjoying the journey, because I really feel like that's where the transformation comes from self-love. It doesn't come from forcing anything upon ourselves. It takes time. It's taking you, a long time to be where you are today and be in this empowered state. And I feel like it's taken many steps of self-love, like let's take the next step, like in self-love. It's always been anchored, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you're coming from a place of a lot of compassion for yourself, a lot of forgiveness for yourself, and a lot of self-love, and we could feel that.
At the beginning, it was very like, I was like kind of hard on myself because I felt like I should, but deep down inside, and I don't know what this is gonna sound like, but like I always say, I like really like me. Like, I'm like, if I was my friend, I'd be like, I just love her. Like, that's how I feel. And so I really want to promote that in like my children. Like, it doesn't, like, because people are going to say whatever, and you're not going to be able to please everybody. But like, if you can wake up and be like, oh, I'm awesome. Like, and you want to make those choices that keep you feeling like, I'm awesome and I can live with myself, because like, no matter what I've done, I always am like, I want to maintain authenticity. I want to maintain honesty. I want to maintain like, trust with people. And I mean, have I failed at that in my life? Yeah. I mean, I haven't always done everything perfect, but it's always coming back to that place of like, that's kind of off the topic, but I do want to say something. It's going to come out really weird, but just in case, because I know sometimes when women have babies, like your body really changes and stuff. Okay, it's going to come out really weird what I'm about to say. So, okay, I just want to say that, like, if you're married and you're, having babies and stuff, you are giving your husband this beautiful gift of variety, okay? Because you're continuously changing, and that is like a beautiful thing. And like, so just in case, I wanted to say that because I remember feeling like at the very beginning I had to get back to a size. But like, there's something really beautiful, like, just in case if anybody was like, I don't know what my husband thinks about me when my body changes or whatever, like if someone's married. But I just want to say that like, you are giving your husband all this lovely variety, and that he gets to grow with that with you. So I know that's going to sound really weird, but I just want to say that because I feel like no one says that. So.
I've never heard that before. I have never heard that. I think that is not weird at all. That is very profound, very deep, very like, I just feel like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, because our body changes. We're not the same. And that's a good thing,
And it gives them the opportunity to like appreciate all of the things that get bigger and smaller and change, and and it also allows them to like get bigger and smaller and change, and I don't know. So I just wanted to share that because I know I talked about being pregnant before, and like and I've done it 6 times, and so my husband's had a ton of variety because I've changed so much. And I have war wounds everywhere, like with my stretch marks, but those are war wounds, like we're proud of them, and we, so anyway, I'll stop talking about that.
So good. No, it's really powerful, and he must be quite the man to be, supporting you in being such a great mom too. Like, it takes a lot to be raising 6 children together, and you seem to be really happy together.
But we've been together since we were 16, so we were kind of like, when you meet that young and get married really young, because got married at 18. I don't want to veer off too much, but you're like kind of forced to grow up together, and it wasn't always pretty. The early years were really hard, and I brought a whole bunch of issues in. But I'm just saying that, I don't want to go off topic too much, but I guess I'm saying that the thing about raw vegan, can I just talk about this real quick? Raw vegan relationships, is that okay?
Of course, yeah.
The thing about it is like, as when I hit about day 50 was when this magic like happened. Or maybe it was like day 55, but it was somewhere in there where I remember like being like, oh my gosh. Because one thing I forgot about this. One thing I struggled with a lot before was completely feeling like the best word I can think of is like like untethered, like not like from life. I always just felt like I was like hovering above my life. I don't know if that makes any sense, but and I hated that feeling. Like I hated that. And I would chase the feeling like when I get my thyroid medication, the right dose, I wouldn't feel that way for a while. And then I'd start feeling it again. I don't even know if that translates what I'm saying, but just the feeling of like, I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. And you ever seen like that movie Twister? You know,
Mhm.
when it's at the end and they're like those leather belts that I don't think would ever be able to hold into that pipe. But anyway, and they're just like flying up in the air. That I know that sounds like really weird, but that's how I felt like the majority of the time, like just like not quite on the ground, not connected to my existence. So around day 50 to 55, it was like magic. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting so real. Is that okay? I was just like,
Bring it. We're being
okay.
raw.
I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like I'm me, but I'm like this new person, but I'm like finding myself again, and I feel like my feet are on the ground, and I feel like my life is my life, but I can do anything with it. Like it was just amazing. And because I do daily videos, I was just sharing all of that. Like every day I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I feel like this. And then I started doing meditations with Melissa Keith, who, by the way, is amazing. She does stuff she has a Facebook group, and there's like different levels that you can join. And she has monthly meditation, like personal one-on-one if you join the start. And I did one with her, and I'm every month. I'm like, I'm going to do it every month with her. But just, it was just this, I can keep saying it was magic. It was just like, it was just amazing. And it's okay if I talk about faith with my faith, not trying to preach, but just,
Absolutely.
is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm Catholic, I'm a convert. And that's a whole nother story, but so, we believe in the Eucharist, this being the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. And I had been receiving the Eucharist for all these years, and I had been, living my life in a way that so I could continue to receive. But the Sunday when I went to receive, after I had gone through this change and done this meditational work and stuff, I received him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm receiving like the one I'm speaking with in my mind, and the one that so the spiritual and religious aspect was like mind blowing, like around that time. And it's just gotten deeper and more profound. And I'm like, this is what he's talking about, like eat the fruits and the trees. And like, I'm like, because this is how we feel so connected, so this is just my experience, but I don't even know how I got here. But anyway, I'm just saying that like, it was really powerful. I mean, it was so powerful.
I
So,
love it. Don't even worry. God is in charge right now. We are in his hands, and whatever
you can
flows
feel
through
that.
us is perfectly divinely ordered. And, the benefits that you're feeling, the benefits I feel as well is like what you're describing as this spiritual connection is one of the greatest benefits of this lifestyle.
And you
And
don't think about that at the beginning. You're like, I
no,
mean, no, I don't want to interrupt you, but that's
yeah,
the last thing on my mind. Now I'm
yeah.
like, that's why I want to stay this forever, because of that now. But anyway, sorry.
Yes. There's
Yeah.
just so many benefits. No, exactly. It's like we don't really think about it. It's like getting sober. We don't know. We just want to get sober. We don't necessarily think we're going to like develop a spiritual life. Like when I first got into the AA, I was just like, I want to get clean. Like, I don't know about this God thing. Like, I didn't want to really talk about it, but the result of the journey, the relapses, all this stuff, I was just like, okay, in the end I was just like, I surrender. Like I surrender, to my higher power, to God, to Jesus. But it's the same thing as like coming into the living foods. And if anybody tells you that cooked food is not an addiction like drugs, they are wrong.
It
Because
really, really is. I don't
coming
care what
off
anybody says. It really is. It's
coming
true.
off of
That when you asked me what was the thing that almost got me, I was packing my kids' lunch, and I know people are going to be like all hating on me but I'm not making my kids change. I just add in good stuff. But I was packing a honey bun, beginning of my raw vegan journey, and I was looking at the honey bun, and I was like, I'm gonna eat that honey bun today. I'm gonna eat that honey bun today. I was like having this conversation. And I had to work through it and be like, you are not eating it. You don't need that. I think that was like on day like 5 or 6. But I was like, I mean, really, like a honey bun? Like now it seems so silly, but oh my gosh, it felt really strong that day. Sorry, I interrupted you.
For real. No, it's all right. We're flowing. We're good. It's all good. Don't worry. But yeah, no, it
Okay.
is a drug and it has this pull, the same energetic pull like cocaine, like alcohol, like, but like, yeah, King Fatty came in. You said it at the right time. He said, cooked food is the most socially accepted drug in society.
Yes.
What? But nobody's talking about it as a drug, right?
Uh-huh.
What you see around. That's why it's so hard to be on this path. But
Right.
once you give it a try, once you give it a chance, once you see how good you could feel, it's not that hard, right? Like
Right.
you start kind of gliding once the detox period has gone through, once you've cleansed your bowels a little bit more, once you've alkalized your body, then it becomes more natural. And I'm telling you, there's nothing in me right now that wants a piece of bread no more. There's nothing in me. Like I could think about it sometimes and fantasize about how good that might be, or a memory might pop up, but it's not like a physical craving, for sugar or for meat. And it has been a journey as well for me too. Like you said, about coming off the sugar, coming off the gluten, coming off the all these
Right.
things. It's been a series of, it's a journey. I don't necessarily
Mhm.
recommend anybody go from A to Z right away. Like we're going to take a
Mhm.
journey into it. But yeah, I mean, the benefits we experience. So spiritual is one of the benefits, connecting to God, right? Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth,
Yeah.
and every tree in the which is a fruit.
Yeah,
of
that's beautiful. And
it's
I studied that because I excuse me, after, the Noah's Ark, then they're basically allowed to eat whatever, and then comes the law. But I was reading, sorry, this book, Tanya Zavasta. I think
Mhm.
that's what it is, just a couple books. Oh my goodness, she like explained how like I believe in the fall, and like how according with that, like how it shows that as they start eating whatever, their lifespan declines. And then around the time where he's like, maybe you all heard this, but I was like blown away. I'm in my room, like no one's there with me. I'm like, someone's got to hear this. Anyway, but it was like 120 years, right around that time, that the human span of life changes around the time where they can basically eat meat and wait. I'm like, wow, like it just really blew my mind. Anyway.
This information just came to me too a few weeks ago. Queen Cindy told me about this, who's in our group, Kings and Queens. She told me this and my mind was blown. I was like, that makes sense, right? And it's the same thing today,
Uh-huh.
right? If we eat these animal products, like we definitely have a shorter expectancy of life, like it's been
Yes.
shown. So
Like chemistry
definitely
went down.
there's
Yeah.
a correlation. Oh yeah, absolutely. I believe we can live to over 100, even in our polluted state and all of that in this day and
Yeah.
age, definitely. Yes, thank you for bringing that. No, I love it. I mean, I've one of the books that really inspired me on this path is the Essene Gospel of Peace, where we talk about Jesus being an Essene and practicing this lifestyle, this living food lifestyle, and being, about the fasting and very, very strict about his diet. And that's how he was so close to God. And I believe
Wow.
we can
Yeah.
all access that, and that closeness, definitely. And I love what you said too about like feeling more like yourself. It brings you closer to yourself, even if not everybody resonates with the concept of God. Like it brings you closer to you, to who you truly are,
Right.
because you're
Right.
getting rid of whatever is not you, um,
Right.
there's a lot of parasites inside of us that control our mind, that makes us feel depressed, suicidal, anxious. So when we stop giving those parasites the environment to thrive, they go away. And then you're like, oh, here I am, here I am.
Yeah.
The,
No
the,
one's talking about this. That, I mean, people are, but like, but the is it okay if I
yeah,
say sorry.
everything's okay.
Yeah. I'm a chronic apologizer. I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm sorry, but I'm sorry.
Do you know whose
So
page you're on?
I know. So the one thing that really helped me with cravings when you said that was I was listening to a video by Rock of Romance, And she was like, you know, talking about the gut microbiome. And I was like, wait, what? I had never heard of that before. And she was talking about the cravings and stuff. And so yesterday, I think it was yesterday's video, I did like a kindergarten lesson on like the gut microbiome on my channel, because that's how I love, like, you know, people to teach things. But basically, when she explained that like your cravings and the stuff you're going through is what you're feeding in your gut. And if you feed other stuff and kind of like starve the other stuff out, you'll crave other things. And I was like, what? I'm not gonna let some like bacteria dictate like how I make choices. I'm like, I'm gonna starve you out. I was like, I know it sounds like silly, but I like had a conversation with myself, like, we're not doing this. I am a free thinker. I am a person that can make my own choices, and I'm not gonna stay in that space anymore of like, because talking about addiction, like I'll just say that it's been in my life and people I love, and I have serious conversations. It runs in my family, like farther back, and my parents I love that they shared conversations with me about knowing that sometimes it can be kind of hereditary, and knowing like you need to be more aware. And I'm able to have a conversation with my kids, like maybe not necessarily whatever it would be, but addictive personalities, like, you know, being really obsessed with things. And so for me, I have learned, like, so before I would always like just jump right into everything. So for me, doing 100 days plant-based and then doing raw vegan was actually me being very balanced and like taking my time. But I just totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry what I was going to say, but just the microbiome, I think, and the and knowing ourselves and being balanced, but I can't quite remember. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You were talking about taking control and not letting the gut
Oh,
microbiome
that's right.
dictate what you were going to eat. So definitely, like, I was going to ask you too, like, what are some of the tricks that you implemented to stay on the path? Do you have any, you know, helpful advice for some that are, you know, looking to change their gut microbiome? Like, how do we do that? And what
Right.
worked for you in terms of like even what you eat in a day, or what were some of the beneficial?
Yeah, at the beginning, I was real like, I'm gonna make a mock this. Like, I'm gonna make the thing that's like this thing I like, you know? And then, I mean, it's awesome and that's great. Over time, though, it became very like, I just focused on having a variety of things within the things that I found easy to make, quick to make, things I like. So I like smoothies, I like salads. I didn't like zoodles at first. I was like, I don't get this, but now I actually really like it. And once I started getting enough ebooks, and I talk about this, I made a video about 3 things that helped me go raw and stay raw. And one of them was, you can, like, I had to get over the idea that I could do everything for free and that I shouldn't pay for anything. And once I started buying like the Ultimate Raw Food Bundle and ebooks from people, and like really started to like learn what they did, it helped me so much to figure out my palate and which I like. So like if it's like raw garlic, I don't put in anything. I cannot stand it. It's in a lot of recipes and a lot of people like it. Me, I do not like it at all. Raw onions and raw garlic, I mean, I know there's benefits, but it is not worth it to me. Like, I just don't like it. So that's like one thing I would suggest is like, figure out over time, let your palate change a little bit. And if you make a recipe and you're like, this would be so good without this, leave it out. Like, just, you know, and don't be afraid to spend some money towards this. I know we all want everything for free, but like, it's really good also to support people in this community that like are building and taking the time to do it. But on the other side, just like for yourself, like, I don't know how to make anything. I mean, I know how to make a salad, but then the dressing, some people are like, oh, just sprinkle some lemon on it. It's gonna be so good. And I was like,
I know.
what? That's gross, like, to me. So maybe other people like it. So like at Raw Food Romance's book, she has this one mayonnaise, which I have to change a little bit because I didn't have everything in it, but it's like my absolute favorite thing. I put on everything. So like, I guess I would just say that, like, trust your own palate, let your palate develop. And now I'm making things and I share them on my channel. Like, I made this, I'm calling it chili con queso, but it doesn't have chili or queso, but it's like, to me, it reminds me of something like that. And I love it. And then now I'm having fun, you know, but it's just, and then my smoothies, I just mix it up. I try lots of different fruits, and with my salads, just add an array of color and vegetables. So I don't know if that's super helpful, because at the beginning, I wouldn't have liked to hear that. I want recipes. And if you're looking for amazing recipes at Raw Food Romance is great. And Melissa Keith,
Yes.
oh my gosh, her ebooks are so good.
Yeah.
And Jade
Yeah.
was the first one that I found. JD Raw. I can't remember what her handle is right now, but and there are so many people that are so inspirational, so encouraging at the beginning. Oh, and I do want to say this too. I don't know how we are on time, but um, what was I gonna say? I forgot already. Never mind. I have a lot of kids. I forget everything. But I don't remember what I was
So
gonna say.
that's some great advice. And I think that, everybody has to do their own research. Like, if we want to do something, like we're going to go find the solutions to do it. We're going to connect with the right people. We're going to invest, like you said, in some recipe books and YouTube videos, like just invest a little bit of time and do some research, because basically, and if we want to transition, like there is some mock versions of pretty much everything, like lasagna, veggie burgers, like crackers. We can make all of that. It is good to stay mostly with the living foods, like the hydrating, watery fruits and veggies, but it's good sometimes to have the dehydrated foods as well as a transition or as a treat. It's really beneficial. Or like some desserts, like you could literally have like coconut cookies. Like there's so much variety in the living foods kingdom and queendom that we just have to open up to. And like you said, your palate will develop, your palate will get used to different foods. We just have to give ourselves a time and chance to switch over. Like I don't even eat salt anymore. I'm doing everything, like I make my own celery salt, and this has been a process. I still sometimes crave it. So that's like, I felt my last kind of big addiction was the salt. It had a really big grip on me. So since the last juice cleanse, I stopped, but I'm like, I'm never going to enjoy food again. And now here I am, if like a month in, and I said, okay, like I could get used to this. My palate's used to it. I'm having a little bit of the dulse. I'm having some celery salt, and I never thought I would get here. So, it's a journey, a progression. I mean, there was a time where I couldn't live without French fries and ribs. So we have
Praise
to.
the Lord. Yeah. That's okay right now.
Yeah.
It feels like you can't. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Can I say it?
Yeah. Yes.
About this restrictive mentality. That was really hard for me, and no offense to anybody, because we all handle things differently. But like when I would share certain things and maybe it wasn't quote unquote perfect, what someone would think raw vegan, sometimes people would point it out, and I would just try to lovingly be like, this is a journey I'm on, I'm sharing my journey, but I am not into that at all, the restrictive mindset. I grew up in health culture, and I was sharing on this thing. I did this lunch event, and they were like, we were talking, and I was like, I remember when I was a kid, everyone would say, my parents, oh, you have this, next week, oh, you can't have that, it's terrible, and my parents were always just trying to find a healthy balance for us. And I think that with the raw vegan journey, like it's the same thing. And I know we want to do it all right, and we want to have, but it's at one point, like, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I had to decide, I'm okay with my journey not looking perfect, because I have a point I want to get to, but I'm not trying to be cliche, but I want to enjoy this journey. It's a journey, and so that restrictive mindset, I just feel like it's one of the things that I feel like makes this the hardest journey for people, because they're like, I don't know what I can and can't do. Like, I don't know. That's how I felt. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that can even evolve, over time. There are some times where we need more fats, where we're feeling hungry for like the nuts and the seeds and the hemp seeds and things like that. And then I feel like not being restrictive in that will allow us to stay raw. I really like, for me, for example, like it really helped me for the first 2 years. And now like, I just naturally don't really need it anymore, but they really served me for that time, and like, I just naturally kind of, I'm gravitating more towards the fruit, but definitely like, don't be restrictive. There was a point in time where I was just like, I'll do whatever it takes to stay raw, because anything else made me feel like the depression was coming back. I would feel tired after a meal, like all my symptoms would come back. So, staying raw. And then there's a transition too. Like if somebody wants to do, mostly raw and maybe have some like mucusless meals, like I always recommend having like some sweet potato next to it, like enjoy the journey, right? Like have some sweet potato, have a little bit of steamed broccoli, have a little bit of rice even, and like make the most of your meal, a big salad, for example, and then start transitioning like that with a little bit of your regular food. So we're not being dogmatic here. A lot of people even say like, oh, being raw, you could still have a tiny bit of cooked food. Like, it's about the journey and it's about what feels good in our body. And I love how you share your experience, and it's all good, be unapologetic about where you're at,
Yeah.
because we are setting the stage, we are leaders in this. And I think it's okay to claim that. It's taken me a few years to be like, me? Like, what,
I
me?
know,
Like,
right?
a leader? Like an influencer? No, like, stop it.
But you are. It's true. It happens. It's funny you said that, because the other day I was like, okay, so we do Waldorf education, like we implement it sometimes with our kids. And one of the things it talks about doing is about, you have different times of the day you do things like breathing in and breathing out activities for children. And I implement it in my own life. And one of the things is like an action. And so like when I spend a lot of time learning and like more quieter, focused things, then I need to get up and I need to have action. And one of the most beautiful things is that we become, in a way, like our actions. Like, I'm not trying to say we should define ourselves by everything, but I just mean like by our action we can move into something. And the day, I can't remember when it was, but I realized like, oh my gosh, I'm like a raw vegan. Like it really, like I am that because I'm doing it. Like it's not like I hope I'm a raw vegan or one day maybe, but like I am because I do. And so that really helps, especially for anybody out there who is like really, like I'm what's called, like they call sanguine, where I'm very like flighty and very like dreamy, and but a good way for sanguines to get very grounded is by action and building a really good track record for yourself. And so I just encourage anybody who feels like I've never been able to do it, like, you can even set yourself up like, I'm going to do it for an hour, and then you do it for an hour. You're like, well, look at that hour behind me. Like I did that whole thing, and then like, or I'm going to do it for this one meal, and then do it. And then your next meal will be something else. But like, let yourself just be encouraged by your action, and don't let it be, I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but I just feel like that's really important. So anyway.
I love that. I love that. And action often precedes motivation, right? We
Oh,
heard
that's
that.
so
We hear that
true.
in addiction. It's like a cycle, right? But like, we can't always wait for the motivation to come before taking action. Like what you're saying is so on point. Is like, if you just take the action, you're going to get more motivated, because then you're going to have built some confidence, and you're going to have built some muscle, like confidence muscle. Be like, oh, I could do that. I could go a whole meal without eating, animal products. And then it's like, okay, let me try it again. Let me try it again. And then we build this, it's so great what you're saying. So just get started, start somewhere, start like,
Right. Just look for that rhythm, that good rhythm.
yeah,
Don't worry about, like, I just woke up and said, I'm going to do day one. I'm doing a video.
yeah.
And every day I'm gonna do a video, and I'm just gonna share what I'm doing. I don't care what, and if I stop doing my videos, I stop doing my videos, but I don't know. Yeah. So
Exactly. But staying consistent has been a really important thing in this journey. And I see you being consistent. And even if you go a day or two without making a video, like you come back, and people love to see that consistency in you, because they're curious. They're like, oh my gosh, like, how are they not dying of protein deficiency? And how are they still standing? Because
yeah,
there's so much programming, and we're like, hey, we're doing great.
we're doing
So
fine. Yeah.
but we're here to shine our light. We're here to be the bearers of light, the bearers of change and of truth. And that's a great responsibility to be carrying. And it's an honor really to be on this path. And I hope more get inspired, come and, reach out to us, follow you on Instagram, Botanical Rhianon, and on Facebook as well, on her YouTube channel. Definitely check her out. I'll put the link in the comments as well after our live. And we'll have this video as well available on YouTube on both our channels. But yeah, I have one more question for you. I know we're both wrapping up. We both have children to attend to, but I just appreciate you so much. This was a really, really powerful and interesting interview. I absolutely love having you on. How do you do it all? I want to know. You got 6 kids, you're like Waldorf homeschooling, you're making your own meals, you're making their meals,
Yeah.
a good wife, like making videos. Like, how do you stay so calm and grounded in all of this? Do you have anything to share with us?
Well, years ago, I bought a program when I was doing Waldorf homeschool, and if anybody's looking for one, she's great. Waldorf Essentials, that's what it's called, and her name is Melissa, and she's amazing. And part of the program is to help husbands and wives learn how to run their homes and manage their relationships. And so I learned how to meal plan. I learned more about boundaries with my children, healthy boundaries, um, and not let their emotions dictate my choices, because that was a real hard one for me. And I learned how to do more like what I'm calling cooperative cleaning, and that took a long time to implement. But now, like, I just call certain people in. Hey guys, clean the floor. Hey, sweep up the floor. Hey, do you do the table? Can you load the dishwasher? And in like 5 minutes, the whole main house is clean. It took a long time to get there, but we're doing it now, and it's great because everyone knows how to do that. Everyone knows how to just. I mean, sometimes we're like, oh, but I'm like, well, it's just work is good for our dignity, so come on. Yeah. But anyway, and then with meals, I do meal planning, and they're not always the best meals, but they're budget friendly, and they, I always put a vegetable on the plate, and my husband's like, you gotta eat it to the kids, and because they listen to him so much better than listen to me. It's like amazing. He's like, anyway, which I want to shout out to him because he's watching all the kids upstairs. But anyway, so all of that really helps, kind of implement a place where you can add something in. And that took a long time to get there, but that's okay. And I wrote down some things. Let me see if this has anything to do with this question. Oh, I put down that I'm the queen of quick videos. So I'm really good. Cause like I don't wear makeup. This is like, it's ponytail or my hair half up.
Yes.
I have mom clothes with stains, and I'm just
Yes.
like, y'all are going to have to either like it or you're just not going to want to watch, because this is how it is. So I do everything on my phone, every single thing on my phone. And I have InShot, if anybody's interested. InShot is the app, and I have the free one, and it's so easy to edit. I mean, I can edit in like probably 10 to 15 minutes, a whole video. And so I just like, I'm consistent with it. And my daughter is so funny. Every time I hold up a smoothie, she's like, oh, I got my smoothie, #smoothie. She's so funny. I'm always like, she's so quick. I am not as quick, but she's so funny. So like enjoy, like bringing that in with them, like being able to see like an industrious mom. And my husband flips cars. He also works for the Chancery. He works for the Catholic Church, and he's a director, but he flips cars. And we've always been a very like home-centered family. And so just bringing your kids into things, like not being afraid of that. And they like it, and they have a high sense of value for the family. That was a really long answer, but
Perfect. I love it. Thank you. We're getting all sorts of helpful tips. I'm like taking notes. InShot.
Oh, and I do want to say, yeah, anything that you want to implement, I tell myself this is going to take 2 months to do, and sometimes it takes 4. But like, transitioning a child from a toddler bed to a bigger bed, or from your bed if you co-sleep, which we would do, to a toddler bed, or that takes a lot longer, or getting the kids on board with cooperative cleaning, and someone crying. But anyway, that all took a long time. So just want to say to anybody who's like, how in the world would I do that? I remember feeling that way, but just letting yourself know this is going to take time. And it's okay. It's okay. It takes a long time. So.
Thank you so much. I really, really admire everything that you're doing. Even the fact that you're doing Waldorf.
Well, it's real.
It's okay.
It's relaxed.
It's perfect. My daughter went to a Waldorf school for 3 years here in Montreal, so I'm very connected to the school, to the way, and I really feel like Rudolf Steiner is like one of my, spirit guides, bringing us
beautiful
together.
Things to say about human beings.
Yeah, definite. Well, you are a beautiful example of a living angel here on earth, and I do not use that word lightly. You're here to spread love, light, and bring, you are the living proof of the living God. That's like what I kept feeling today, is like you are the living proof of a living God that, can come through us and work miracles through us and impact a big change, through ourselves first, through you first, and then through the world. And this is how we heal the world. We heal ourselves first. We figure our shit out, we figure out our symptoms, and then we start spreading the light, and that's how it's done. And I always encourage everybody to, go within first, heal yourself, and then start sharing your gifts in whatever way. Maybe it's not always video. Some of you might feel that nudge to make videos and we're scared, do that. If not, it might be a book, it might be a painting. Like I always like, there's so many different ways of expressing ourselves, but let's all take inspired action as you are doing, and we can all do something. We can all do something, and I think that pulls us out of our depression, that pulls us out of the anxiety, like being in that action, whatever that may be.
In action. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The connection, just being connected with others through action. I love that how you said, I love that. I interrupted you just to say that was awesome.
I love it. Bring it on. Bring it on. There was something else I wanted to say too that
and I wish I was better. Like, oh, you did a good job at going back and remembering.
No, this has been perfect and divine. And I'm so grateful for you for accepting to come and share. I know it takes a lot of courage to, do interviews like this. It's live, it's unedited. I don't know how to, I never stop myself from sharing. Once I decided like that was my mission and that's what God wanted me to do, I was like, I'm not going to stop myself because I don't know how to edit. I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm just going to do it. So some of my videos
you do it so well. You do it so well. And I know we all just love what you're doing here. And this group is amazing. And I just want to gush on you with that because it's so important. Like what you're talking about, we have to talk about addiction and make it more like, let's talk about it. Let's find solutions. And I love that you talk about the raw vegan life and helping you with that. It's like magical. Like, I just love what you're doing. So I just want to say that.
Thank you so much.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah, right.
We're uplifting each other, and that's what it's all about, especially us women. I don't know where you've come from, but I have been very traumatized by women, whether friends or my own mother, and creating these positive relationships and uplifting each other through new relationships. I really feel it's healing the trauma that has been associated with like women in general. So yeah, the food is one aspect of it. And then it helps us to love ourselves that much more. Like I love, like what you were saying about loving yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I wish everybody loved themselves. There would be,
and then be able to see, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I just say there'd be less problems in the world. Yeah.
You're so right. Well, I was going to say that my daughter, she'll be like, don't talk about me, but I just want to say one thing is that like watching her come up, like, spending an enormous amount of time in the early years, like working with her feelings and telling her, you can feel however you want to feel. You are allowed to feel that. We got to rein it in a little bit. We got to process it, but you're allowed to feel it. And then now watching her get older and be like, calling me like, I don't think I want to be here, this place I'm at. And I'm like, you don't have to be there. Or just coming over and checking in, like, like putting that relationship first, like being able to see that in fruition. I guess that's the way you say it. Like us doing what we're talking about with our girls. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying it's so good, Totally. I went off on it.
Totally. No, we're doing it different, and we're showing them that it is okay for them to feel. It is okay for them because repressing emotions leads to so many different issues like food addictions and drug and alcohol addiction, depression. So we definitely want to open that up. And that comes with consequences. Now my daughter expresses herself a little bit too much. She's 12 and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Mine's 12 too. That one I'm talking about. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, wow. No way.
Powerful age. Yeah.
Yeah. So I keep reminding myself, I've encouraged her whole life.
I am raising a powerful woman. It's our mantra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Goes in the room to cry.
And then I'm in the room crying. Okay. No, I was joking. Okay. This is good. It's good. It's relationships and emotion and working through. And so anyway, I keep interrupting you. This is so great. You're so much fun to talk to. Now I'm like, this is how people feel when they're on your interviews. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you. I love doing this. I genuinely love doing this. And when I was searching for what I was going to do, like, I have had like this whole identity shift, if you would say, or career shift over the last few years. I was like, what do I love to do? I love to be with others. I love to get to know others. Thank you for saying that, because it genuinely brings me so much joy to share, your journey with the world and share others, whoever wants to come on and share like doesn't matter what background, what you've been doing. You don't necessarily have to be raw vegan. Like even in the group, like we're not all raw vegan necessarily, but I just feel like we all have such a powerful story to share. And that's what got me sober, honestly. Those speakers meetings at AA and CA, when I was like so down in the dumps, but I would go to those meetings and hear somebody make it. I would hear somebody survive and what they did. And I was like, I want what they have. Like that was me. I was like, I want what they have. Like what they will have, like that's going to be me one day, even though it took me many years to get there. So seeing somebody have what we want, like, that's super inspiring. So somebody out there is looking to you and saying, I want what she has, and I'm going to take the steps to get there. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm trying not to talk anymore. I just love everything you say.
Yeah. We're here to, walk each other home. We're here to inspire each other. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. This has been just so joyful. And to anyone who's on, I can't even see like the chat. I should have put it on and stuff so I could see what people are saying. But thank you so much for having me. It's just been such a joy. I really appreciate being here.
My pleasure and greatest honor. You will see there's a lot of comments. Sorry, I couldn't answer all of them. I would have been like staring at my phone the whole time. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. It is also in the Kings and Queens of Raw community. Follow Queen Botanical Rhianon on her social media, on Instagram and on YouTube, and join us in our super amazing Kings and Queens of Raw community where you can ask questions, share your struggles, share what's going on with you, do a live video. We have a lot of Kings and Queens that come on there and pop on because community is everything, like you said. So stay connected. It's the opposite of addiction, is connection. So yes.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah. Great way to end. That was so good.
Stay connected. Stay connected to your brothers and sisters and to God above. Thank you so much, God, for leading this amazing talk and for guiding us in the highest way possible that we could honor you, Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We will hopefully do this again.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This was awesome. Thank you. Thank you
so
for having me.
Awesome. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.